is Step 1 with Freddie Wilson. Welcome to another episode of Step 1. I'm Freddie Wilson. Before we get started, a reminder that you can find every episode of Step 1 on YouTube and Spotify. And if you haven't already, follow Step 1 on all social media platforms. For Instagram, that is at Step 1 with Freddie Wilson, and Twitter, that is at Step 1 Podcast. On today's episode, we got an awesome guest for you. My good friend Simon Gelbard is coming on the show. Just a heads up. We did record this interview before the NBA Finals even started, before the idea of Dan Hurley going to the Lakers even became news. So it's a little outdated, but it's a great interview nonetheless. Also, if you watched the show a couple weeks ago, I said Simon was coming on, but instead we had an interview with Dylan Carr. I can reassure you, Simon's on the show this week. We already recorded it. It's awesome. You're going to like it. Also, the Celtics take a commanding 3-game lead in the NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks. The Florida Panthers are dominating Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup. Caitlin Clark is being snubbed from the United States Olympic basketball team. And finally, Joey Chestnut is banned from competing at Nathan's 4th of July hot dog eating contest. All right, let's ride. All right, we'll start with the finals. The Celtics are up 3 games in the NBA Finals, and I think we learned last night the Celtics are just the better team. Porzingis is injured again, but that didn't stop us from winning. We managed to hold off a ferocious comeback attempt. We made shots when we needed to make them, and personally, I think the series was over after the first half of Game 1. They showed Jason Kidd's halftime speech where he said, just remember, guys, like, let's have fun out there. That's not a halftime speech to get the guys going. That's not like Friday Night Lights, clear eyes, full hearts get lose. Or clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. My bad. That's a halftime speech you give when you give up and know the other team's just better than you. That's the NFL coach saying, hey, guys, let's just have fun here. That's like what he says in a meaningless, like, Week 16 game when he knows he's getting fired. He's like, guys, remember that fun out there. If you're bringing out the let's have fun speech halfway through Game 1 of the NBA Finals, you're clearly the lesser team, and you're not going to win. And I think Jason Kidd just kind of realized that. Because, again, he's not trying to rile the guys up. He's like, you know what we should do? Let's remember why we play this game. Let's go have fun. All right, sticking with the NBA. Dan Hurley is not taking the Lakers job. He is staying at UConn and will make a boatload of money. Now, I would have liked to have discussed it with Simon, but we recorded our interview last week before this was even a story. So in the last week, the idea of Dan Hurley going to the Lakers was floated. There was probably an interview, and then he declined the job all in the last week. I don't think he was ever going to go. I'm still in the camp that's probably going to be JJ Redick, and there is news today that he might be interviewing for the job. I still think it's going to be him. It just seems like a good fit, and he and LeBron do a podcast together. So I think it's going to be JJ Redick. I'm excited to see that when it happens. I think Dan Hurley is just meant to be a college coach. It's a completely different experience coaching the NBA, and not everyone wants to do it. And I think Dan Hurley in UConn is a perfect fit, and I'm glad that he's staying. And maybe they'll be the first team to be a 3-time champion in a row since John Wooden and UCLA. Like, it would be really cool if that happens. Moving into hockey, in the Stanley Cup Finals, the Florida Panthers are up 2-0 on the Edmonton Oilers. I'm really hoping the Oilers win tonight. Let's just make this a series because playoff hockey is fun. But after 2 games, the Panthers are just the better team in all aspects of the game. The Oilers have 1 goal over 2 games, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't McDavid who scored. Could be wrong. The Panthers have just figured out how to neutralize Connor McDavid. I don't see the Stanley Cup come back to Canada this year. It would be really cool if it did, but I think this is the year where it goes all the way down to Florida, the last place you think a hockey trophy should be, but they seem to have good hockey teams in Florida. The Lightning have their run, and now the Panthers are really good. All right, moving on. Once again, we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark because it seems like every week there's something to discuss about America's favorite basketball player. She got subbed from the U.S. Olympic roster. Honestly, I don't get it. I think she deserves to be on a roster. She's a great player, but also because you can make the argument she is the face of women's basketball on a global scale. People would absolutely come to see her play, not just Americans. Like, people from all over the world would come to Paris just to see this girl play. I don't think this game is probably going to be even in Paris. They would travel to the French countryside to see this team play if Caitlin Clark was on it. You could make that argument. I understand the U.S. women's team wants to have the best team possible, but unlike men's international basketball, other countries do not compete with the United States women's team. We are the best team, and so we shouldn't be trying to build a team because we fear another country. No, that's not how it works. We're better than everyone else by a landslide. USA women's basketball logic behind not having Caitlin Clark was because they feared her fans would be mad if she didn't play that much. But that's just bad logic. Also, these games are all going to be blowouts, so she'll play a lot in garbage time. So again, terrible logic. It's better to have her on a team not play much than to not have her on a team at all, in my opinion. Also, you put Aaliyah Boss on a team, who's a great player, but why not include them both? They play on the same team. Like, why not have them both? They're both number one picks in the last 2 years. They play on the same team. If you're gonna not put Caitlin Clark on national team, then at least could you put her on the 3-on-3 team, which is another event, by the way. And if Caitlin Clark was on that team, a lot more people would be watching those games, and it would generate a lot more popularity for the lesser event that is 3-on-3 basketball. And they were okay with putting Haley Van Lith on the 3-on-3 team, a girl who's a great basketball player. She's still in college. She's not in the WNBA. Why is she gonna be there? It's a big mistake, not just from a talent standpoint, but just from growing the game. Caitlin Clark is the most recognizable women's basketball player in the world. And if you think of all the tickets you could sell, all the jerseys you could sell, like it's a huge loss, both just like from a talent standpoint, but also just like an opportunity to grow women's basketball exponentially. If you have the face of a game playing on a global scale, even if she doesn't start or play much, just big mistake. Finally, we are going to talk about the great shame Nathan's Hot Dogs has brought upon America by banning Joey Chestnut from the 4th of July hot dog competition because he is partnering with Impossible Foods, the company that makes vegan hot dogs. I understand that Nathan's is a business, and maybe they don't want to be associated with a rival brand, even though that brand makes a completely different product because it's Impossible hot dogs that are vegan. They don't have meat. Like the fact that they think Impossible Foods is a rival makes no sense because no one's going to switch to Impossible hot dogs if they're looking for beef. They might switch to like Hebrew National, but not Impossible hot dogs. And there's that. I think banning Joey Chestnut meant big mistake. It's like watching the NBA Finals without Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic. It's like watching a Super Bowl, but both teams have backup quarterbacks. I don't watch Nathan's because I want to see the other eaters compete. I'm there to watch Joey Chestnut compete against himself because that's what it is at this point. He's so much better than everyone else. It's not like you're watching a great race. You're watching a dude try to break his own records every year. And maybe this year would have been the year, but Nathan's like, nah. He's not only one of the greatest Americans in history. I would argue that Joey Chestnut is one of the greatest athletes of all time. And if you want to make an argument that competitive eating is not a sport, well, let's just say you're wrong. And if you consider chess a sport, then how is competitive not a sport? Joey Chestnut is so good at what he does. I actually have on my Mount Rushmore of greatest athletes of all time. Which, if you must know, my Mount Rushmore of athletes, it consists of Joey Chestnut, Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, and Tom Brady. The point being is Nathan's Hot Dog should not be banning the face of their marquee event because he's trying to make some money outside of the 1 day-a-year event. That being said, I'm excited to watch him compete against fellow competitive eater Kobayashi in the hot dog eating contest on Labor Day. Joey Chestnut literally brought this guy out of retirement for this. But my message to Nathan's Hot Dogs is, it's very simple. Get your mediocre hot dogs out of your butt and let Joey Chestnut compete this 4th of July. And now let's get to my interview with Simon Gelbard. Okay, today we welcome on a very special guest. I would say a recurring guest. He has been on the show before, albeit he was with our friend Jacob Feldstein. Simon Gelbard. Simon, welcome to Step One. How you doing?
It's good to be here. It's
All
been
right.
been a long time coming. We had to
Long time coming.
schedule this a while back.
In our last episode, I said our guest was Simon Gelbard because I was like, I recorded before we thought we were recording the interview. And then you said you couldn't do it, and I was too lazy to edit it out. So I said at the start of the interview, like, yeah, for those of you who were thinking against Simon, my bad, he got someone else.
Well,
All 4 viewers were disappointed, I bet.
Oh yeah, well they're going to be excited this week. So
all right. Well, since this has been a long time coming, I actually have a bunch of questions actually for you, believe it or not. I prepared for this kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll have the answers for the NBA draft portion if we're going to talk about that, but I'll try my best.
Yeah, an NBA draft, that's something I got to do research on. But I actually have some questions about your alma mater, the University of Miami.
It's going to be rough too.
All right.
Okay, go.
First question is it the University of Miami? When someone says where'd you go to school, do you say the University of Miami? Do you say the U? Like what do you call it these days?
University of Miami.
Okay, so you don't go around saying the U, right? Or do you say
No,
that like in Miami?
because I feel like, yeah, only in Miami. And then if I say UM, then people think University of Michigan.
University of
So
Maryland.
yeah,
Dare I
exactly.
say
So
Miami of Ohio?
oh, I hate that. It's not a real school, so
Because I feel
can't
like
have that.
for a while when you said the U, it was like, oh, you go to Miami. But I feel like that's
Yeah.
kind of lost its prominence. And also, if you live in Utah and you say the U, that's the University of Utah, by the way.
Okay, well, I will not be doing that in Utah, but yeah, I mean, Miami was hot for a while when football was rolling, but and basketball the Final Four, but right now it's kind of a dead school for
All right.
sports.
I do have some questions about football because we shared a coach. Mario Cristobal was our coach at Oregon. He's at
Mhm.
Miami now. So I think it was Greg Olson who said, if anyone could bring Miami back, it would be Mario. If he can't do it, no one can. I think this is the season to determine if anyone can bring Miami back to relevance.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're
Like this is the year he needs to
we've
actually
been
like
good for a
win
while.
more than 6 games.
Yeah. We've been stuck in the last few years, but hopefully, I haven't looked at our recruiting class. I don't know if we got anyone that good, but
I mean, I'll just say I haven't heard any big names coming, but then again, at the end of the day, there's so many schools and so many recruits. Like it's hard to make a huge splash.
yeah, I mean, there's so many top tier schools that it's gonna be hard for us to compete at all. But as long as we can be somewhat competitive, I mean,
I feel like
no one.
it's a good school to go to if you're a football player. Like it's an awesome city, like a history of winning, not recent history, but like it's starting to get a point where kids don't remember when Miami was good because like
Yeah,
they
I was a freshman when they were when they were good, so it's
yeah, but
been
they
a
were
while.
never like were they really good for your freshman year? I know they were like a good team, but were they like actually like
We were
going to
ranked.
win a
We were,
championship
we were ranked number two in the nation.
for 1 week or multiple weeks?
For I think we were like top five, top 10 for like a good amount of weeks.
All right, so yeah, you've had one good season since your championship in like 2001.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we beat like number two ranked Notre Dame or something my freshman year. That was a big deal. Uh, but yeah, since then it's been rough. And then we got railed by Clemson in the playoffs.
Yeah,
In the
Clemson. They're usually pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah. So
What's the game day scene like there? Because I know the stadium is nowhere near campus. So like,
yeah,
how does it work? Like when you have to like when you're a good 45-minute driving to the stadium.
yeah. A lot of the older students will drive and then tailgate. They'll get a parking spot and they'll tailgate outside the stadium. Or the frats have parties or tailgates, and or if you're an underclassman, usually they have like these nice coach buses,
So it's a
and
party bus.
yeah, well, they check your
They
bottles and stuff.
check.
They're pretty tight on it. I mean, if you put like a clear, if you yeah, it's pretty tough to get it in, but I mean,
Have you never seen the old put it under the bra strap technique?
I don't wear a bra for it.
Well,
I
I
don't
know
know.
you don't, but like that's what girls used to do at Oregon or in most stadiums, I imagine.
I'm sure they do at Miami too, but yeah, I just
Don't act like well, I know you're gluten free, but don't act like you've never had a beer on the coach bus.
I have brought like White Claws onto the bus, I believe.
Yeah, like I know they check, but like it is Miami. They don't let
Hmm.
check so much.
For a
All
water
right.
bottle with vodka in it.
All right. I actually have some basketball questions. Well, the biggest basketball thing about your school is the Cavander sisters. I've been curious, are they actually good at basketball or are they just really attractive and they happen to play basketball? I I don't know how good they are. I've never seen them play. I just know they're very good at being hot and making money off of that.
You know, I don't find them attractive.
Okay.
But they well, I know one of the girls is good at basketball. The other one's kind of just there
I'm
because
getting the sense they are like essentially one person. Like they are a package deal.
yeah, well, one of them is really good.
Because I feel
Uh,
like the one who's good, it's just like if you want me, you need my sister. Like otherwise, no deal. Like I feel
yeah,
like she uses that in like recruiting and transferring.
yeah, I think the one of them took a break from basketball.
But they're coming
Uh,
back next year apparently. Like one was going to go to TCU, eventually like, didn't. I don't know. It's a whole mess, but they're still
yeah,
making money off of whatever it is they do on social media.
yeah, their brand probably started going downhill, and they had to restart it by going to Miami again.
Yeah, because
They're, yeah,
I don't know, but like I am curious because again, I don't really see them play. I just know they are notable because they've made a lot of money on social media and through NIL.
yeah, yeah. They're probably making a lot now in NIL, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think it helps that they're also very attractive. And there's two of them, by the way, I
According to
should
some
mention.
people, yeah.
Like it is a brand, like, and good for them. Like I'm all for NIL, but like I feel like a lot of the other like big name like female like NIL like money makers like are also really good at their sport. Like Livy Dunn, yeah, she is very attractive, but also she is good at gymnastics. They did win the national title. Like they're not a bad team.
Yeah, and, yeah, all the women basketball players are really good.
Yeah, Cameron Brink
Yeah.
was also very good and yeah, made a lot of NIL money.
Hmm.
So that was my big Miami question. Also, was that men's Final Four win? Was that a fluke, or is Miami men's basketball actually really good and just
I
doesn't make
think
it in the Final Four every year?
our coaching is really good. I think we lost all of our talent to the draft and then didn't have any recruits. So it's kind of it was I saw it coming from a mile away. Like if you don't have the players, you can't do it. But we had Isaiah Wong and some other guys go to the league. So
Yeah. Are they
never,
playing in the NBA?
I don't think any of them are like really that good. Yeah.
Yeah, because you never hear like, oh yeah, like this guy's great. He went to the University of Miami for basketball. Like there's no like big names in the NBA that I can think of.
The only two that are from my sophomore year, I think, were Bruce Brown
I am familiar with Bruce Brown.
and Lonnie Walker were both on the same team together, but they didn't really do much.
Bruce Brown is an NBA champion.
Yeah, no, I meant they didn't do much at Miami.
Okay. But he is
Yeah,
an NBA champion. Come on. NBA champion Bruce Brown. He's the reason why the Nuggets didn't win again. I wholeheartedly believe that.
yeah, I agree. Him and
Like
Jeff.
him and Jeff Green were the reason why they won. I know Jokic is like really good and all, but like Bruce Brown won him a championship. I really believe that statement. I will die on that hill that Bruce Brown is the reason why the Nuggets won. All
I
right.
agree.
We talked a little bit about this in our last episode with our friend Eli Hearn, who you know. I know you're a Lakers fan. Who do you think is going to be the next coach of Los Angeles Lakers?
I think it's going to be JJ,
That seems to be the consensus.
and I'm happy about that.
I
Honestly,
still think it's like I don't understand why you would want to be the coach of the Lakers. I,
it's such a brand builder. I
it's a
mean,
brand builder, but it's also it's a such unless you win a championship, like it's a losing. Like you're not going to be liked. I understand like a lot of teams want
yeah.
championships, but like for a lot of teams, if you like show you're a good team, even if you don't win a championship, like yeah, like they'll keep you around if you like show you're building some culture towards a championship. Whereas Darvin Ham wasn't a bad coach in my opinion.
I thought he was. I
What
thought he was
he made a
pretty shitty.
Western Conference Finals as a 7 seed, like
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, they had LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Like you know,
yeah, I know, but like still, like I think for how ups down first season was, I think they did a good playoffs. They
I
weren't
think
that bad this year.
I
They
think
just
they did well in spite of him, not because of him. Like, I don't, I think he was the reason why they didn't do better than they did because he doesn't know how to coach. And
okay.
LeBron ended up taking over the coaching responsibilities.
Again, I think I said last week, LeBron should just be a player coach. Like
I
that
wouldn't
was a
hate it.
thing for a while in the 60s. Bill Russell did it.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
run
know
it back.
how it would work in today's NBA with all the analytics and all the assistants, but like, if anyone could do it, LeBron James could.
He's the only one that could.
Like, well, also, like, it would be like another like thing on his resume that's already great. Like, imagine just capping off his career, be like, I was a player coach as well.
Yeah,
Like,
plus
yeah,
owner.
I played 30 minutes a game and also coached.
He's all three at the same time. He's an owner, coach, and player at the same time. That'd
He's
be
quite
hilarious.
literally the Jackie Moon of the NBA. Your owner, your promoter, and your starting center, LeBron James.
Let's just have LeBron go 1-on-5 against everyone. Just
I
him versus.
mean, depending on the team, I wouldn't. He would get some points.
You think he's still a top 5 player, Freddie?
I would say top 10. Like he's still a fit. You know, obviously, if you're averaging like 20 plus points a game at his age, like yeah, you're definitely a great player. I think he's top 10. I think there are
Agreed.
enough better players than him to make him a top 5 guy.
I think he's towards the end of that, towards like the 9-10.
Yeah, he's still an all NBA caliber player. He's still like he could still drop 30 plus points every night, theoretically.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't know when this thing's gonna end.
Yeah. If he could go for another 5 years if he wanted to, I feel.
He wants to play with Bronny allegedly, or he claims he doesn't, but let's be honest. How funny would it be if they had his son and LeBron on the same team?
Ronnie is a real NBA talent.
You're a fan of Bronny?
No, I don't. I mean,
I saw
I
him
hope the
play. He looked
hope the
good
best
from
for
what I
him,
could tell.
but yeah, I mean, he averaged what, like 6 points in college or
Well, I
something like
mean, he
that.
was also like injured and like on a minute. He had a heart thing. He was on minutes restriction, so he never really had like a chance to like become a good player. And it's not like USC built a team around him.
I gotta be honest, watching him though, like he didn't look like an NBA player. Like he's not super efficient with his movements, and he's not a great point guard, which is bad for someone who's 6'1".
He is jacked though.
Yeah, he's super athletic. He's like a shooting guard slash small forward, but at 6'1" is like you can't do anything with
Crazier
that.
things have happened.
I mean, if he gets the right coaching in the
Yeah,
NBA, anything's possible. But
it would have been cool to see him have a better college career. Like, I think he's going to the NBA. I don't think he's going back to college.
I know
I
it's a
don't. I
shame.
thought it was unfortunate to choose USC just because I really wanted him to go to Oregon.
Yeah,
I
I think
think.
I think if he went to a school that featured him, he would have had a better.
Well, I think USC did feature him. I think the injuries or not the injuries, the heart thing, and also it's
Yeah,
like it's not like they were. You know, USC can be good, but they're usually not that great. Like even if they're ranked, you never think, oh, USC, they are a lock to make a deep run.
yeah.
That's just, it's USC basketball. That's not how it rolls.
I'll be watching his first NBA game though for sure.
Wait, first NBA game or first summer league game?
Both, both.
Both.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's going to be a primetime game whenever he comes on, just because he is LeBron James's son.
yeah, they should.
I don't think we would care about him if his name wasn't LeBron James Jr.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's going to be a late second round pick. I don't remember ever talking about a late second round pick
I mean,
before.
you do if you talk about him being one of the greatest basketball players of all time's child.
It's true.
Like, yeah, we talked a lot about ball. Ball wasn't that good, but it's ball.
Yeah, I mean, he's a
Manu
freak.
Ball's son, and he's ball.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
killer name. Not that good of a basketball player. I knew it at Oregon, by the way. I knew he wasn't good.
Shaq said he's just as good as Wembanyama. That's what Shaq said.
Have you seen Wembanyama? He's a little better. Just,
I would
just
agree.
a hunch. I
Yeah.
actually did make a very bad take on the show, like early, maybe not early in the season, probably like December or January, where I said, "Oh, Wemby's not that good," mainly because like I hadn't really seen him play, and I knew the Spurs weren't doing so well.
Hmm.
I think I was wrong. I think Wemby is pretty good.
Yeah, I would say
It
he's
was it was a bad take.
borderline already top 10 as a rookie. So
I mean, you could definitely tell like the league's worried. Like all the analysts and all the people, like they know he's coming. Like they're like, it's gonna be a problem not only once he gets better, but like once they build a team around him, because they will.
he needs some talent on his team because they
If
are.
they're a point guard away from being decent, they're
Yeah,
probably a point guard and like one more guy away from being like an elite team.
yeah. I think they need a distributing point guard and they need a scoring wing, and then
Which
they should,
they're not gonna give a draft because it's this draft.
they could go a little bit more aggressive and trade some draft picks for some talent. But I don't.
Like draft picks in the future. Yeah, because no one's like the Hawks have a number one pick. Like no one wants that pick because again, what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah,
Like,
you're gonna
there's
take
no
some
like
mid.
marquee player that the Hawks are like, yes, we got the number one pick. We can finally get our dude.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
just yeah. I really have not done my research on the draft. It's a bunch of foreign dudes, which again, that's great, but I don't know any of them. I don't watch Europe basketball, believe it or not.
They're not.
Uh,
Yeah, and apparently they're not even like in any other draft. They'd be considered like end of lottery draft picks, like draft pick 10. So it's
this is probably like the weirdest draft since maybe the 2013 draft with Anthony Bennett going one overall. Like
yeah.
that was a pretty scrub of a draft. I don't know
Yeah.
if they realized that at the time, but like
Is there any outstanding guys from that draft? I don't remember.
Bradley Beal, maybe. Actually, I'm
Uh,
curious.
no,
2013 NBA draft. I
yeah,
think Dame may have been that draft.
ye- maybe Giannis. No.
I think Gian. Oh, let's find out. Draft selections. All right. Uh, yeah, Giannis was 15. So
Okay,
every team missed on Giannis.
pretty good draft then.
Yeah, no, I was wrong. Bradley Beal was not in the draft. CJ McCollum, though.
Okay.
Uh, let's not forget the real best player in that draft, Otto Porter Jr.
Oh,
Yeah, let's never forget.
Otto
Um,
Porter.
yeah, Ben McLemore, obviously, huge fan.
I thought he was going to be really good.
You could shoot. Rudy Gobert was in that draft as well. So there were like some dudes, but no one like, wow, that guy.
No one in the lottery.
I mean, Giannis was technically a lottery. If when does lottery cut off? I actually don't
Ends
know.
ends at 14.
I think a lot Giannis wasn't technically a lottery pick then because he was
Yeah,
at 15. But
yeah.
like
So
the teams I miss, again, who would have known that Giannis would have been that good? But like a lot of teams miss on Giannis. A lot of teams miss on Jokic. Like you never
yeah,
really know
every
what you're getting. Let's be honest.
yeah, these skinny foreign players that then put on a lot of muscle and just know how to play basketball really well.
Well, also like a lot of these European dudes are like have been playing professionally at a lot earlier age, so they're
Yeah,
used to the big moments.
Luka's about to win a championship, so
Uh, the Celtics are winning in six. I
we'll see
stand
about
by that.
we'll see about that.
We did our NBA Finals preview last week with Eli, but like we're recording this before Game One, by the way.
I think you're right. I think the Celtics will win, but I don't want them to.
You know we're gonna watch Game One, by the way.
What do you mean?
You know, like where I'm watching it potentially.
At the stadium?
No, at a sports bar in Rochester, New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Little side note: I am driving to Rochester, New York tomorrow for the probably the longest Facebook Marketplace pickup.
What are you buying?
I'm buying my sister, who just had a child, friend of a show, by the way, Molly, and thank you, Molly, for letting us use your room. She doesn't know I'm doing that. I use Molly's room to record the show now.
Why not your room?
My room's a mess.
Oh, okay.
Plus, my parents are on the same floor as me. Molly's in the attic, so it just works better. But they bought Molly some very high-tech stroller type thing. It's a
Hmm.
multi-purpose thing. And
Yeah.
apparently they're like a lot of money and they're getting a great deal. So to pay for my gas and to drive to Rochester is saving them a lot of money.
Hmm. Well, that's nice
And
that
you
you did.
know, it's not like I got a whole lot going on these days. By the way, shamelessly plug, if anyone wants to hire me, I am available.
Have you been applying?
I don't know if you noticed, I applied to be part of my take internship. If they want to hire me, by the way, hint, hint, I'm available. That video, because I had to put it on my YouTube because they wanted a video application, has more views than my podcast.
It's all the people that part of my take.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I haven't heard back, by the way, as of this taping, but I'm
I'm
really
hoping
hoping that someone in the 25 views has seen it.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping. But yes, it was a little surprising that has way more views than any episode of my show.
Well, hopefully you get it.
Uh, and you know we're a 5-star podcast now, right?
Whew.
Yeah,
It's well
5-star on Spotify.
nice.
I had
Nice.
nothing to do with convincing people to give me 5 stars. Had nothing to do with that.
It's all natural.
It's all natural. They just know how to give 5 stars. It's really easy to do it. Yeah, it's not like you need to listen to an episode or anything to give yourself 5 stars.
I might have to go on there and give 5 stars.
I would appreciate that. And also subscribe to the Twitter or follow the Twitter.
Mhm.
Step One Podcast at Twitter.
We're gonna blow
It's
up.
mostly bots who follow the Twitter.
That's fine.
It's a bunch of like bots with links to OnlyFans accounts. I'm glad they're a fan. I can't say I follow them back.
You should reciprocate their love, Freddie.
Subscribe to their OnlyFans. That's definitely a scam. Yeah, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so what I want. It's just weird that like it's just a bunch of like random people. They're not even real. They're bots who have an OnlyFans that are probably not real OnlyFans accounts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always wanted to do OnlyFreds, right? Are you not familiar with the idea of OnlyFreds?
No, it's that.
It's where when I inevitably win our fantasy football league and win the Georgia helmet, I might do some streaming of like video games now, just wearing the helmet and nothing else. I've always wanted to do that.
You're not winning, Freddie, because I'm winning next year.
You're winning
So
next.
yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna do the Eli Hearns 4 quarterback strategy?
No, I'm gonna stick with what I've been doing. My team's been good the last few years, but we're just gonna get over the hump. It's been we've been
Keep him
knocking
as
at the
MVP.
yeah, exactly. MVP.
MVP. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have you on for our fantasy football preview. I don't know. That's a long way away. Football season.
Maybe I'll run that one with Jacob.
We're not almost there, but it did release the schedules of like the month of December and how it's going to work with the expanded playoff and the NFL season ending. And there's a lot of football on in the month, like December to the beginning of January, and I am so excited. I might just not go on vacation. I just might stay home.
Yeah, I can't wait to spend every Sunday watching football.
Uh, it's a great time. I spent Saturdays too because of the Ducks.
Yeah, you're right. I should do that as well.
I've already bought NFL Sunday ticket. Uh, it got more expensive this year, of course.
Yeah, it is pricey.
It is. It's one of those things like you think, oh, am I gonna do it again? But you end up doing it anyways. That's how
Yeah.
they get you because they know you're gonna do it.
Worth it.
It
Right?
is worth it, and if you have 2 TVs, even better. It's like a sports bar. Highly recommend.
Hmm.
Just a pro move.
I have a small TV, so it's not gonna do much for
So
me.
I was trying to go for the 3 TV setup in my old place in Oregon, but the roommates vetoed it profusely.
Yeah.
Apparently 3 is too much. I disagree. What if
Yeah.
there are 3 or more games on you want to watch?
You can't have too many, I don't think.
Well, YouTube TV is only can only be on 3 devices at once, so it would have been a perfect number.
Yeah.
And just imagine if 3 TVs for 3 people.
Well, you can do that now that you are no longer with them,
I
right?
could. Probably 2 TVs. I think 2 for one person is enough. I think 3 would be a little excessive for one person. But if I ever get a roommate, 3 TVs.
You should move to New York, Freddie.
I should move to New York. We'll see. I have no idea where I'm moving.
We're getting Joe in New York, so the list
You're
keeps
getting our
getting.
boy Fat Joe.
Yeah.
I should call him Fat Joe. He is actually not fat at all.
You know, your last guest, Eli Hearn.
Yes.
he lives in the city, and I have not seen him yet. So Eli, if you're watching this, why don't you hit a
He
brother up?
watches every week, obviously.
Well, if you're watching, I haven't heard from you. So just
Honestly, at this point, we only have one like weekly watcher,
well,
and it's our boy Dylan. He watches every week. My parents don't even watch every week anymore.
Kelsey doesn't watch.
He might. I don't know. But I know I have at least like one loyal follower. I know Dylan watches every week. Shout out to Dylan because I know you're watching this. But and Simon will be watching, obviously.
Yeah,
But yes, everyone in this group who's come on the show, and I told him how I had Eli on the show. They're like, how'd you get Eli to come on the show? I never hear from him. So
I'm impressed. I'm
I
impressed.
not only have I had him on the show, I've had him on 3 times.
Is he your number one guest?
He is not. Feldstein is my number one guest. We've had Feldstein on 5 times.
Oh wow.
Um, I did say if I ever got a 5 time guest, I would make him a custom step one shirt. So I have to do that eventually for
Yeah,
a 5 time guest.
he needs to wear you around New York City so
I
people
got to
have
make the shirt and figure out how to send it to him.
that's good advertising, Freddie.
It is great advertising. Yeah, I should put the handle under on the shirt somehow, or like just a QR code.
He's gonna play basketball in it, and everyone's gonna be like, "Damn, you're so good!" Like, I should watch the podcast that you watch.
I actually have a question about basketball in New York. Do the Knicks run the city when they're good?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's pretty. Yeah, you see a lot more people wearing Knicks gear when they're doing well versus when they're not. But I don't know. I feel like people are always crazy about the Knicks in New York, so it doesn't really change whether they're
But
good
like,
or not.
is it the team like New Yorkers want to see win a championship the most? Like more of an even more than like the Yankees or Mets or Rangers or even
Yeah,
Jets actually.
yeah. I think it's got the biggest like fan base just because it's like the easiest to get behind. It's the only New York basketball team that really has any substance to it. No one cares about the Nets. So MSG,
It is
huge,
MSG, yeah.
yeah. But it was a lot.
What do you think is going to happen if like the Knicks somehow do win a championship? Like, well, what is going to happen? I'm genuinely curious.
Going
Like,
to
is
need a lot of police officers in the road to stop the mayhem because it's going to go
what
crazy.
the cops are going to be celebrating with the fans?
It might be honestly.
I
I
don't
won't
know.
be out.
I wonder if they ask cops, "Are you a sports fan?" during the interview? Because I feel like if they say yes, they're like, "Nope, you can't do sport. You can't do riot control during sports games."
I feel like a lot of police officers are probably sports fans.
I mean, we know some are. There's the guy at the Red Sox game who always gets excited. He's the one when David Ortiz at a grand slam. He's like, "Yes, we did it." But like, I feel like it comes up during the police academy or not police academy, like the police questioning interview. Like, are you a sports fan? Because that might be a problem if the Knicks win.
Yeah, they'll be out partying
They might
too.
be part of the mob.
They need that night off. That's fine.
Yeah, just need that night off, like all the NBA Finals games if they ever make it. Which again, I don't think they will.
Well, what if they get a big name this off season?
That's what a Knicks fan says every off season.
I know, but now they're actually good. So
I actually, long story short, I was like, I like saw like an update from an old friend of ours. We'll keep him nameless, but I'll tell him his name off camera. He doesn't watch the show, and like I was like going for his Facebook for kicks, and like apparently in 2019 he was like, yeah, we're gonna get Zion, or and like the super team's happening. There was some other big name player he was thinking about as well. But my favorite part was like we're totally getting Zion, and they just did not get Zion.
no, yeah, I mean that could
They did
still
not win
happen.
out lottery, but there was another big name player he thought they were getting in addition to drafting Zion.
They might end up getting Zion in like a free agency or a trade
I feel like
soon.
I feel like the Knicks always get like the third option they want. But again, it's worked out with Jalen Brunson. I think he's a perfect player for New York.
Everyone was so mad about that. They're like, why didn't we get Donovan Mitchell? And then
It would have been a shoe in to get Donovan Mitchell. He's from New York City. Like it would have made so much sense, but no. The
no,
Knicks
but
just don't know how to get like even the Melo trade was like Melo like the best player they wanted. Probably not.
yeah,
It it wasn't. I don't think it was even that good of like a trade to be honest.
they gave up a lot for
They
him.
gave a lot and like they had two like actual league competitive seasons.
Yeah, but they were never like no one ever thought they were gonna like win the championship. I don't
No,
think.
and I think, I think the biggest issue is the fact that Tom Thibodeau still coaches the team. I know he's a great coach. I love Tibbs, but like he does wear out his players.
Yeah, I think he's the reason they got as far as they did, but he's also the reason why they didn't win it all because
I think
he
he just seems, I think he's a great coach conceptually in terms of like defense, in terms of like, getting a team behind him. But I also think someone needs to teach him load management, like
he just needs
actual load management. I'm not saying like make guys sit games out, but like you don't need to treat that random game in February like it's the Super Bowl. And I think he has that intensity.
yeah, he needs to pull it back a little bit, but I think they get another piece. I think they're really competitive in the
Like,
Eastern. The
who else
Eastern
do they
is
need? Like, what's the next piece? Like, what would they need to be competitive? Like,
one of the
besides staying
Suns,
healthy,
one of the Suns superstars, Devin Booker or Kevin Durant
I don't think
would,
Kevin Durant's going to next.
would be very nice. But even just like a another solid player, people want Mikal Bridges there. I know, because he went to Villanova too. But I don't know. I think they're just a few players
But
or
again,
one.
I think they're going to be good. I think Jalen Brunson is a very good player, and I think they play really hard. And I think they're not going to win titles, but I think they're going to be better than they normally are.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope that it doesn't this season doesn't wear them down where they get injured next year.
I mean,
We'll
there's an
see.
off season to
Yeah,
recover.
I don't
I
know
wonder what Tips off season conditioning program is like.
exactly. He probably makes them play game speed all off season.
Yeah, just puts them to work.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I had another question about something. Trying to remember. It wasn't about the Suns, although the Suns are a train wreck. Oh, I
Yeah.
was gonna tell you this. When I went to a MSG opening night, Julius Randle gave the lamest hype speech I've ever seen.
Really? Why'd they choose
Like,
him?
I don't know. I think they asked someone in like the marketing or like game entertainment thing was like, "Hey, we want someone to hype up the crowd before a game because it's opening night. Like, who wants to do it?" And I think they just land on Julius Randle and they like give him a mic and he's like, "Yo, we've been working really hard. We're gonna give you a season you deserve." And then that was it.
But he was right.
I mean, yeah, they did have a significantly better season than they've had in the past.
Julius Randle, Lakers legend.
I also think Knicks fans are always too cocky. Like they haven't won a championship since like 72 or
Yeah.
71, whenever they won it. Patrick Ewing never won him a championship. I think it's just because it's New York and New York is a basketball city.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it is a basketball city. Like it is a great city to go play pickup.
It's also just one of the most historic stadiums too that they
Yeah,
play in.
it's MSG. You got Spike Lee, you got all the celebrities. Like, yeah, I understand why it is a valuable franchise. I just think it would be cool to see him win one time. That's all. Even though I don't like the Knicks and I will never root for him, it would be cool to see him win.
Yeah, they need a superstar because Jalen Brunson is maybe that, but he's not. He needs help. He can't do it all by himself.
I think if I stay healthy, they'll be more competitive. But also, like, yeah, like that one more piece could make them a very competitive team.
They're not beating the Celtics, and they're not going to be. I don't
No
think they
one's
can.
the
Bucks.
Celtics are. It's a great spot to be in. It's going to be the summer with Jason Tatum.
I
Like,
hate you.
he's going to get his big deal, regardless if we
Ugh,
win a championship. He's getting a super max.
so annoying.
We're going to have the two highest paid players in the NBA, and I'm okay with that.
He sucks.
He really doesn't. He's pretty darn good.
Nah, he's garbage.
Like,
Trash.
again, like, yeah, the trade, like, oh, we're going back to three for this guy, worth it.
He's no Luca.
I mean, I think Luca might be the best player on the court in the finals, but I think the Celtics are objectively the better team.
Unfortunately, I have to agree.
I just, I just don't see. Well, we can talk a little bit about it again. This is airing like probably when game 3 or 4 is happening, but I just think like if you shut Luca and Kyrie down, which again easier said than done, who's gonna pick up the slack? Like, what happens if they get into foul trouble or like get shaken up? Like, because the Celtics have that answer.
So let's say this airs after game 3, assuming.
It'll
Um,
air a week from tomorrow, which tomorrow is June 6th. So whatever, June 13th, my birthday actually.
if that's the case, my prediction for everyone listening is the Mavericks will be up 2 games to 1.
You think they'll be up 2 games to 1 after game 3?
Yeah.
All right. I might air this and see if you were right or wrong, depending on how it goes.
Hmm.
This might be the highlight clip of the episode, depending on
Good.
how this goes.
Yeah, put that in the Instagram.
Put that in Instagram. Well, let's see if you were right first or how wrong you were.
All right. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
like 3-0.
It's gonna be 3-0 Celtics and maybe in 4. I still think the Mavs will get a couple games. I don't think we're losing in Boston, by the way. Garden is going to be electric.
Yeah, well, you guys lost to the hobbled Pacers.
We didn't lose to the Pacers.
Oh,
We
well,
almost did.
and you almost lost. You almost lost.
In my opinion, we should have lost. Like, we had no business winning game 1, but we did. And we got a double bang out of it from Mike Breen, by the way.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got only 8 of them.
He's the GOAT shot call.
It is wild. In all of his time, there have been 8 double bangs, and 2 of them happened in this playoff.
Bang,
No, it's
bang.
bang. Like, it's just, it is an iconic call. Like,
I love that.
I don't think I will ever, if I ever become a sports announcer, I don't think I could do a better thing than bang. Like, I can't think of anything.
You're gonna have to come up. You're gonna have to come up with your own thing.
What would you be your like big shot call?
I don't know.
I want to do Boom Goes Dynamite, but that reporter stole it. First of all, I actually didn't steal it. I stole it from him, but it's a little too long. You need one word. Maybe I do boom like when watching football. Like I'm like boom.
Yeah, that's kind of copying Mike though.
It's not bang. It's boom.
I know it's close though, Freddie.
One letter is the same out of relevant.
Sounds the same to me.
I mean, I don't know what else. Like you have Marv Albert's yes, and then you have bang from Mike Breen. Like I don't know if there's like another
yippee
word phrase. What?
Yippee.
Yippee.
Yeah.
It sounds childish. I don't know. This might be something. Maybe I'll do this as a side quest for the show for more content. Find the next bang when Mike Breen retires.
Release a video of you trying out like 10 different options.
Like, I don't know. How? Nah. I don't know. This might be you're giving me a good idea, actually. And with that, this has been awesome. Always fun to have you on the show. You're welcome back whenever you want. All right. Great seeing you, Simon.
All right. See ya.
If you watched my episode a few weeks ago, you may recall that our reoccurring guest, Jacob Feldstein, declared that for my next episode, I would do the segment in which I pick a random team in a year in sports history and tell the story of that team. He's had his idea for months and he's been pushing it. And so the random team we landed on was the 2012 Jacksonville Jaguars. So the first time we are doing a segment. The segment doesn't have a name yet, by the way. We're working on that part. So I'm not going to lie. A little nervous about this segment. It isn't something I've really tried on the show. So if you are watching this, please feel free to reach out and tell me what you think of this segment. It can be positive or negative feedback. I just want to know what people think of this because it took a lot of research to make this happen and a lot of work to write this. So I would really appreciate feedback. All right, let's get started. Let's go back to 2012. What a great year to be alive. The number one song in 2012 was Gautier's Somebody That I Used to Know. The number one movie was The Avengers. Yeah, that's right. Remember when the Marvel Cinematic Universe became a big thing? Yeah, 2012, The Avengers. That's not when it technically started, but that's when it started, let's be honest. In 2012, LeBron James finally won his first NBA championship with the Miami Heat. The San Francisco Giants won their second World Series in 3 years. The LA Kings won the Stanley Cup as an eighth seed in the playoffs. And for the second time, the New York Giants shocked the world and beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. In other news, in 2012, marijuana was finally legalized for recreational use in Colorado, Oregon, and Washington. And let's not forget the real story of 2012. Remember when people thought the world was going to end December 21st because apparently the Mayan calendar was ending that day? For me in 2012, I was in middle school. And that was the summer where I finally used my early growth spurt for some good and started playing basketball. I was 5'10" at the time, which in middle school is tall. So I was pretty good. And then I sucked once everyone started growing. But the point being is, in that one summer, I was very good at basketball because I was taller than everyone. So now that I've painted the scene of the important things that happened in 2012, let's tell the story of the 2012 Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars were a team just desperate to get a map. They hadn't had a winning season since 2007, and the previous year they had only won 5 games. But this was the beginning of a new era in Jacksonville. Longtime coach Jack Del Rio was fired the previous season and replaced by interim coach Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker is now the coach of Maryland, by the way, just a fun fact. The Jaguars decided to hire Florida native Mike Mularkey as their new coach. The Jaguars also acquired Chad Henne from the Miami Dolphins in free agency to be a backup for second-year starting quarterback Blaine Gabbert. Jaguars were hoping to resign Maurice Jones-Drew, who just come off his third consecutive 1,000 rush yard season. However, Maurice Jones-Drew did not participate in the team's offseason at all because he was holding out for a new contract. Jaguars also had running back Rashad Jennings coming off injury. Jaguars also had tight end Mercedes Lewis looking to bounce back after a disappointing 2011 season in which he had 0 touchdowns. So the season kicks off with not only new faces, but the Jaguar not only, let me back that. The season kicks off with not only new faces for the Jaguars, but also new faces for the referees on the sideline. Who could forget that the first few weeks of the 2012 NFL season were officiated by replacement refs, as the actual NFL officials were on strike? Since the NFL only had a few months to find new officials, many of these officials were referees in high school or low-level college football. They had no business officiating NFL games. Little side note, let's not forget the reason why this madness ended. When the Seattle Seahawks beat the Packers on a Hail Mary that was not a catch. Let's just remember, it wasn't a catch. And if anything, it was an interception. This, in my opinion, is the worst call in the NFL. Like, that being said, poor officiating at the start of a season with the replacement refs didn't really impact any of the games involving the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were just a bad team. Jaguars ended up going 2-14 during the 2012 season, a season filled with injuries, including Maurice Jones-Drew, Blaine Gabbert, Rashad Jennings. The defense was also poor, ranking in the bottom of points allowed and yards allowed. The offense struggled with Chad Henne filling in for injured Blaine Gabbert towards the end of the season. They ended the season on a 5-game losing streak, which extended into the following season, and they would end up losing 13 games in a row. So at the end of 2012, they fired Mike Mularkey at the end of the season. So he only lasted a season. It didn't get much. They didn't get much better after this season because despite having the second pick of the 2013 draft, it was such a weak quarterback draft that they drafted an offensive tackle. So even getting a high draft pick wasn't enough to salvage how bad the 2012 Jacksonville Jaguars were. We'll end with a little side note. Do you know who the #1 quarterback drafted in the 2013 draft was? Yeah, that's right. You guessed it. EJ Emanuel, Buffalo Bills. That's how bad of a quarterback class the 2013 NFL draft was. So the Jaguars couldn't get a quarterback because there weren't really any good ones available. But this was fortunate, actually, because this eventually led them to getting Blake Bortles a year later. And we love Blake Bortles. And that is the story of the 2012 Jacksonville Jaguars. That's our show for this week. Again, subscribe to all my social media accounts. You can find the podcast on YouTube and Spotify. All right, Big Fred, over and out.